About a year ago, I started to read Walden by Henry David Thoreau. I didn't actually finish it, but I feel like I got the basic idea, and it kind of inspired me to do something similar, but I couldn't figure out how it would be possible since I didn't have any money or land or knowledge of how to build my own house. The solution I came up with after talking with my father was to live in the pop-up camper that he owned in his backyard for about a week. Originally, I wanted my dad to deposit the camper at a nearby campground, but eventually I decided it would be cheaper and more convenient to just park it in his backyard. That way I could go inside to eat, use the bathroom, and check my email. My dad lives upstate, so it's pretty natural-y. He has deer and wild turkeys that gather in his backyard, and squirrels. So it may not be the woods, but it was close at least. Before I went upstate, I picked up a copy of the Cliff Notes to Walden, just in case I had missed anything. Chapter 2. Economy. I had begun to receive unemployment insurance a couple of weeks before I began to live in the woods. I was also technically homeless, having decided to move out of my apartment when the lease expired in order to save money. Rent is the largest expense of living in a city, and so I thought that if I could temporarily stop paying rent, I would have more time to think and make art. Chapter 5. Solitude. I wanted to go to the woods to be alone. I feel like I am still learning how to be alone with myself happily. I'm an only child. I have always been prone to loneliness. Ironically, I feel like I like to spend a lot of time alone. I like to be quiet a lot. But still, if I had to say my biggest fear, it would probably be of being alone, being forgotten and unloved. Being in the woods made me feel kind of isolated. It made me want to check my email even more. I was very tempted to indulge in the pleasures of civilization that were only a couple of 100 feet from my camper on the edge of the woods. Chapter 4. Sounds. It was mid-September when I started my experiment. It started to get quite cold at night. My first night in the woods was very unsatisfying. It was really cold outside and kind of damp, and I didn't sleep very well. I was woken early in the morning by loud crows. After 2 nights of poor sleep and being woken by crows, I decided I would just sleep inside and film in the camper during the day. The other problem I realized was the fact that I was trying to make a movie about having deep thoughts and spiritual communion with nature. It seemed very boring to watch someone thinking for a long time. I decided I would need to dramatize my experience, or the experience I was hoping to have. I tried to get some reading done while I was staying in the camper. Some of the books that I read while I was there included The Way of Liberation, The War of Art, The Theater of the Absurd, and The Dance of Fear. Chapter 18. Conclusion. At this point, I realized my movie had almost nothing to do with Walden. But it was still an experiment. I was learning things about myself. I realized that I am not really cut out to live in or near the woods. I realized that I'm not as tough as I thought I was. But maybe I'm getting stronger every day. Maybe that experience has shaped me in some way that I can't really see right now. That's what I'm hoping.